Jello is here, jello, 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 like jello. Like jello. Jello. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Shrimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Kauravani Pracharine Nirvisesa Shunyavani Askatya Desitarine. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasari Gaur Bhaktivinoda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Brahmadakacharya Asadhara Situ Shri Shriman His Divine Grace Shalasi Bhaktivedanta Swami Raj Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Gaur Premanande Harival Slava Zavrani Bhaktam Slava Shri Guru Shri Grangi Om Vishnu Vidaya Krishna Prastavute Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Tanamane Namaste Saraswatam Deve Gauravani Vicharane Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paskatyade Siddharne. Om Agyanativarandasya Gananjana Salakaya Chaksur Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Guru Vaishnavam Scha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatam Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Visakans Vitam Scha Hey Krishna Karna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Takanchena Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Prishubhanu Sutadevi Pranamami Hari Priye Panchakapa Dhruvyascha Kripa Sindhu Vyevacha Patiranam Bhavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Shri Krishna Chaitanya Pranitananda Shadwaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Srimad-Bhagavad-Gita, chapter 18, Perfection of Renunciation, text number 59. Yadahankaram ashritya nayotsyeti manyate vidyaisha vyavisayaste Prakritis tvam niyokshati Yadahankaram ashritya niyotsiti manyase Vidyaisha vyavisayaste Prakritis tvam niyokshati. Ladies. You can do it together. Harmony. Yoti manyate. Vishyayaste. Prakriti samyokshati. Yat. If ahankaram, a false ego, ashritya, taking shelter, na yoshye, I shall not fight. Iti, thus, manyase, you think, mitya, esha, this is all false. Vyavasaya, determination. Te, your, prakriti, material nature. Tvam, you, yokshati, will engage. If you do not act according to my direction, do not fight, then you'll be falsely directed. By your nature, you'll have to be engaged in warfare. Arjuna was a military man and born of the nature of the Kshatriya. Therefore, his natural duty was to fight. But due to false ego, he was fearing that by killing his teacher, grandfather, and friends, he would incur sinful reactions. Actually, he was considering himself the master of his actions, as if he were directing the good and bad results of such work. He forgot that the Supreme Personality of Godhead was present there, instructing him to fight. That is the forgetfulness of the conditioned soul. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gives directions as to what is good and what is bad, and one simply has to act in Krishna consciousness to attain the perfection of life. No one can ascertain his destiny as the Supreme Lord can. Therefore, the best course is to take direction from the Supreme Lord and act. No one should neglect the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead or the order of the spiritual master who is a representative of God. One should act unhesitedly to execute the order of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. That will keep one safe under all circumstances. Yadahankara ashitya niyokshiti manyase vityaisha vyavasayaste prakriti swam niyokshiti. If you do not act according to my direction, do not fight, then you will be falsely directed. By your nature, you will have to be engaged in warfare. Namo Vishnu Varaya Krishna Prasthaya Bhute Srimati Bhakti-Vedanta Swami Namane Namaste Saraswatundeve Gauravani Vacharane Nirvishesha Srinivadi Askatyade Siddharne. Here Krishna is asking Arjuna to fight and saying that if you don't fight, you don't follow my direction, you're going to probably fight anyhow because your nature is to fight. Now, if you don't follow my directions, then you'll fight on behalf of your false ego. And if you fight on behalf of your false ego, then you'll be incurring the reactions for whatever you're doing. And if you fight on my behalf, then you're not responsible for what happens. Now here it mentions the word ahankara, I am this body. And Krishna says that we should understand that ultimately what's the reactions to our activities, that's all depending upon Krishna. As Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vimudatma mitya ahankara vimudatma kartahamiti manyate. That the bewildered soul under the influence of the three modes thinks himself to be the doer of activities which are actually carried out by the three modes of material nature. So this is a little hard for the conditioned soul to understand because we're under illusion, and therefore we're imagining ourselves to be the doer. But if we're a little thoughtful, then we'll see we're the observer. It's just due to the illusion, Maya, that we think we're the doer. But if we accept that we're not the doer, then we no longer become thinking ourselves to be the doer, that's all. Now something is going on because we're speaking, for instance, I'm speaking right now. Now how I'm speaking, I have no idea. Because I'm not actually doing anything. In other words, if I really had to analyze how exactly I can remember what I'm saying, just like I quoted the verse, Prakrite kriyamanani gunai karmani sarvashaha ahankara vivudatma kartaham iti manite. Now exactly where that's coming from, I have no idea. Because it's not actually coming from me, it's coming from the super soul. Now why he's giving one person remembrance, another person, he's giving everyone remembrance, but why sometimes he causes us to forget, and what kind of knowledge he gives us, that's explained. That our free will consists in either orientating ourselves towards the conceptions that Krishna gives us, that we're his eternal servant, or orientating ourselves towards the ignorant misconception of misidentifying ourselves with the gross and subtle body and imagining ourselves to be the doer. Now, we orientate ourselves towards the true conception of our being a spiritual soul, and that we're simply supposed to do something for Krishna. Then, gradually, Krishna reveals what's in the Bhagavad Gita. In other words, what's in the Bhagavad Gita is not very complicated in one sense. It says we're eternal. We have an eternal identity. And it's not this body. And that right now all we're doing is desiring. There are so many things that are being offered to us. And the question is what we're going to think about, feel about, and will. Just like the soul has a capacity to think, it has a capacity to feel, and it has a capacity to will. Now when we're thinking about the material nature, then gradually we're going to put our energy more into it, and then we'll feel it. And then we'll will something in relationship to the material energy. Now that will is our part. The other part is carried out by Krishna. Krishna understands the desire of the soul just like one can understand the flavor of a flower by smelling it. Now, what desire is going to be fulfilled? Desire, as Prabhupada writes, is a subtle form of conditioning for the soul. So we're not creating desires. Those desires have been programmed by our past activities. When we get a body on the basis of our mind and intelligence and our karmic reactions from our previous activities, previous lifetimes. We enter into a body which is programmed to generate different circumstances under the influence of time, and in those circumstances, different desires arise. And we get a chance to think about them, and we can concentrate more upon them, to feel about them, and then when we really get involved, then we will that something be done on the behalf of those desires. So the desires, along with the desire comes, along with our karma comes activities of the five senses, of the gross, of the knowledge acquiring senses, and the active senses. All these get involved, and then desire is manifest in different phases of thinking, feeling, willing, and therefore activities are performed. Not by us, but through the material nature. Either the material nature, or If we're thinking, feeling, and willing in terms of the spiritual nature, then it's carried out by the spiritual energy. So either we're seeing people working under the internal energy of Krishna when they're engaged in thinking, feeling, and willing in relation to Krishna, or we see people working under the illusory energy in the three modes. Now, whatever body we took has some of those qualities. Of course, Kali Yuga, our modes are so mixed up that we don't know what we are. People have acquired, they think, previously people used to think, well, I'm a Kshatriya, which means the modes of material nature. I'm predominantly in passion, and the passion has produced within me certain qualities, such as Saurya, Teja, Jita, Jaksha, Yude, Chapyapalayanam, Dhanam, Ishvara, Bhavascha. Saurya, Teja, Driti, Daksha, Yude, Chapyapalayanam, Ishvara, what is it? Saurya, Teja, Driti, Daksha, Yude, Chapyapalayanam, Dhanam, Ishvara, Bhavascha, Kshatrakarma, Sabhavajam. So those, along with the mode of passion, and a little bit of quality of goodness too, there's certain qualities that are developed, like Saurya, heroism, Tejas, power, Saurya, Teja, GT, determination. So these qualities come along. And when you have these qualities, you want to use them. Generally speaking, if you're good at something, you want to do it. Because you spend a lot of time to qualify yourself to be good at it. Be born in a Kshatriya family and actually have Kshatriya qualities means you worked on it in your previous lifetime. So if you took birth in a family of Kshatriyas with those qualities, obviously you want to work as a Kshatriya. Because you've been working, you spend some time developing those qualities so you can experience them. If you build a house, spend all your money, invest your time and energy in it, then actually you probably want to live in it. Very few people build a house, spend all their money on the house, and then decide, well, maybe I'll just live in a shack. It's possible, but not very likely. If you're going to spend energy developing something, you probably want to use it. If you bought a car, you probably want to use it. You spend your energy, your time investing in the car, you probably want to use it. Very few people just invest their time and energy and never take advantage of what the results are. And especially if you become a Kshatriya in the mode of passion, which is more or less almost purely passion with some goodness, and some other modes may be mixed in, because no one's purely in the three modes, then obviously there's nothing else you can do. It's very hard when you spend your whole life getting trained up in something, and then suddenly if you spent lifetimes to become a Kshatriya, suddenly you're going to decide to act like a Brahmin. Well, you have no idea, you have no qualification. In the Vedic culture, you're 3 meters high as a Kshatriya. The Brahmins are maybe 1.5 meters high. They're doing sacrifice, and you can't hardly chant the Vedic hymns. They're completely sense and mind controlled. And you're, a big, powerful person, and you're attracted to you need a queen or queens, and you need a kingdom, you have to have followers, and like when Krishna and Balaram and Bhima went to fight beg charity from Jarasandha dressed as Brahmins, immediately Jarasandha recognized that these people are not Brahmins. They have these big bodies, they have marks on their shoulder from carrying bows, they talk like they're commanders, they're not Brahmins at all. Even he could recognize these are not Brahmins. But nowadays, because everyone's a Shudra or less, no one knows, if one claims he's a Brahmin, without qualifications, it means nothing. Previously, the Brahmins could, by being in the mode of goodness, they could chant mantras, and the fire would unite. They knew how to chant, so fire would ignite. They'd sacrifice the cow or the bull or the horse, and by chanting the mantras, it'd come out alive from the fire. Now the only thing that would happen is you'd have some steaks. Nothing would really come out alive. So it's very hard for us to relate to Arjuna being a Kshatriya, Krishna telling him to fight. And if he didn't fight, then he would have to fight anyhow. It's just his nature to fight. But if he didn't fight on Krishna's behalf, he'd fight on the behalf of his false ego. And anything done on his behalf of the false ego, to laud it over the material nature and enjoy it, simply entangles one in the material nature. So Krishna is giving Arjuna the opportunity to fight in order to fight on his behalf. And the result is Arjuna would realize he's Krishna's servant. That's his real identity. Rather than the false identity of being a Kshatriya, he realized his spiritual identity. So that's the advantage of acting in Krishna consciousness, is that one could realize Krishna, that's all. If we don't realize Krishna, then we spend our life worshipping our material body, which unfortunately happens to be dead already. We don't have to die for the body to be dead, because it's already dead. It's only alive, it appears to be alive because we're in it. Just like a car appears to be alive because someone drives it. When someone gets out of the car, then the car appears to be dead. When the person gets in the car and drives it, then it appears to be alive because it's moving. So this body is only moving because we're in it, and because we're desiring, therefore it's going through, and because of our karma, therefore it's going through different manifestations arranged by the material nature and Krishna. And when we leave the body, then it appears to be dead, but it was always dead. It's just a machine being worked by the soul through the agency of Krishna and the material energy. And the soul has the capacity to desire, and it has its karma, and therefore Krishna is arranging everything through either the material or the spiritual energy to manifest activities for us, so we can enjoy or suffer them. But it's not a very exciting journey, because although we appear to be a hero or heroine due to our false ego, or even a Kshatriya, whatever it is, according to the yuga, whatever, but actually it's the same old thing. Punak punas charvata charvananam. Every day we wake up, we look forward to eating, and at night we look forward to sleeping. And during the day we work hard so we can eat and sleep. And some people, they mate and defend. And the same thing again and again, making all these arrangements, basically to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. And then after doing that, well, while doing that, we go through old age, disease, and death, only to take birth again to eat, sleep, mate, and defend. Which would be all right, but if there was actually, especially in this planet, in Kali Yuga, there's not really very exciting in terms of, happily ever after. It's simply one problem after another, ever growing in intensity, and therefore the anxiety, whether we can eat, sleep, mate, and defend, and what our birth, death, old age, and disease will be, is ever more putting us in anxiety as time goes on. People struggle more, and they get less from the struggle. They work more, and the paycheck goes down. And the paycheck goes down, and they can buy less. And it appears that material nature is not, the people in charge don't appear to be very much in love with us, doing it just for our benefit. No one seems to actually love or appreciate us the way we'd like to. Everyone is more or less lonely because everyone is basically what's speaking, as Prahlad Maharaj said, Kali Yuga becomes clearer because people don't act dutifully according to Krishna's directions. Therefore, it's clear that everyone's just selfish. They're just interested in their body, their dead material body, to serve it. And they put a little glamour on it, a little icing on it to make it look attractive. or as they say grossly, they put lipstick on a pig. Now, if you put lipstick on a pig, it's still a pig. So similarly, in Kali Yuga, where everyone is working selfishly to gratify their senses, and people are making arrangements for making some kind of deal, business deal, so they can get some mutual benefit from their activities in terms of sense gratification. It's not very satisfying to anyone. And because people have no conception of anything else besides that, it's quite depressing for people to act according to their false ego. But they have nothing else to do. Their only shelter in Kali Yuga, and they think, is their false ego. They think their false ego is helping them make a better existence. They think somehow or another, by use of their intelligence, under the direction of their false ego, they're going to get the best possible bargain out of the material energy. They're going to squeeze the maximum amount of happiness out of it. And they're depressed because even though they try very hard with their intelligence, they never get even a drop, practically, of the satisfaction they're looking for. But still they try, because they have no other alternative. But if one can experience the happiness of Krishna consciousness, if one can actually come in contact with Krishna, become conscious of him, even think about him, then one can see that there's an alternative to working according to the false ego. One can work according to one's actual identity as Krishna's servant, the spiritual identity that Krishna had explained at the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, that we're spiritual beings, and therefore we can work towards at least eternity. Because if we realize we're eternal, then we'd actually become prasanatma, we'd actually become free from anxiety at least. Even to realize we're eternal would be such a great benefit. But besides that, to think of a life where of bliss and love and appreciation for everyone, where you can eternally, every moment becomes more and more ecstatic and more wonderful. Now we can't experience that immediately in the material world, but we can understand that even by a little bit of experience in Krishna consciousness, that there's certainly something better than simply dull material consciousness, where the leaders are simply, due to their false ego, inspiring our false ego, and no one's really getting anything anywhere. Just running around in a circle looking for peace and happiness in a world which is being manifested anything but peace and happiness. Therefore, internally, we have the ability to take shelter of Krishna, find out what he wants us to do, which is an endeavor itself. It takes a lot of intelligence to find out what Krishna wants us to do. And when we simply agree to do that, and in this age, if we don't know what to do, we can just chant Hare Krishna. That, at least we know Krishna wants us to do that. And if we do that, that's perfect. There's nothing better we can do than chant Hare Krishna. So things are quite simple. But of course, to chant Hare Krishna, we also have to do things like maintain the body, learn how to chant offenselessly. So these we should understand. If we simply do that, then our life will become perfect. We don't have to worry about a million different things. We just have to worry about those things. And if we do that, then gradually our false ego will go away, as we realize, as Krishna reveals who we actually are. And then we'll still have an ego, we'll still have activities, we're still going to do something, but we'll be working internally mostly, engaged in Krishna's pastimes. Well, externally, Krishna will take care of everything else. He'll make all the other arrangements for our body, for our mind, for our words. Everything will be taken care of, and we won't have to worry about that. Because we'll see Krishna's making all the arrangements for us. Everything will be perfect, because we'll see how the whole universe is all, even an atom can't move without Krishna's will. So Krishna will manifest himself completely, and will become completely free from all problems. Because understand everything is under Krishna is using this body completely under the spiritual energy and making all the arrangements, and we don't have to worry about any of them. And if we desire to do something, then Krishna may fulfill it. That's all. Anyhow, Krishna will make it clear what we're supposed to do and how to do it. And we just have to agree to do it, and Krishna will perfectly manifest it through the spiritual energy. And we'll be happy, and we can make other people happy too. And we'll become perfectly Krishna conscious, and we can tell people how they can become Krishna conscious too. So I'll stop there. Thank you. Any questions? Yes.
When we are doing these services for Krishna, should we also think that we are just wishing? Or
You mean desiring?
Should we just think that we have only desire and Krishna is doing everything, or modes, or should we...
We don't have to think, that's the reality. We don't have to think about that. That's what's going on. All we have to do is observe whether we're doing something for Krishna, that's all. If we're doing
but should we think that we are doing this, or that the modes are doing and we are just desiring?
No, if we're doing something for Krishna, it's not the modes that are acting. It's the spiritual energy that's acting. Yeah, of course we should appreciate it's the spiritual energy that's acting, or else we'll falsely take the credit for it.
So in spiritual world, for example, does also apply this principle, or?
Spiritual world, first of all, I can't tell you exactly what it's like to be in the spiritual world because I'm not quite there. But what is it like in the spiritual world where we have a body made of Satchitananda Vigraha, bliss, knowledge, and eternity, and we have one desire to please Krishna, and it's manifested in 5 different rasas. So whatever rasa we have, we simply work eternally out of love for Krishna. So we become aware of what will please Krishna and his devotees, and that's what we do. We don't have, there we just desire, and desire is activity.
Yeah, but if we are not different from bodies, we are these spiritual bodies.
Yeah.
So we have senses and everything, so there probably actually the souls are performing the tasks.
Yeah, the soul,
like
of course.
here.
Yeah, of course, the soul it's the world is simply souls. The task is simply out of love. Behind the task is love, and from that love, all the activities are manifested simply out of love. And all the senses fulfill each other. So, but anyhow, everything is done out of love, and everything is manifested out of love. In 5 rasas, of course. Here we desire, and it's manifest. Here, if we desire in terms of Krishna consciousness, then Krishna manifests, the internal energy manifests things out of love also, to different degrees. And if we don't desire to please Krishna, then it manifests in the 3 modes. We enjoy the 3 modes of nature: goodness, passion, ignorance. Little peace and goodness, a lot of anxiety and passion, and little consciousness and ignorance. That's what we enjoy. What's that?
Misery.
Yeah, different degrees of misery. But here we can think we're God at least. There we think we're God's servant. Anyhow, it's really hard to be God. I think we should leave it up to Krishna. Let him do it. He's better at it than we are. Anything else? Wala Grantaraj Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaur Premanande.